Well, hello everyone, and welcome to day 2 of June 2022. Welcome to the month of June, 30 days all about gin. Shining a spotlight on those with a unique spin. Fun facts and proper tastings, cocktails on Friday afternoons. Discover 13 different brands and be influenced by me. Some for all. That's right, I am a some for all. Now on this second day of June, my 30-day salute to gin during the month of June, my taste buds and I are off to the Isle of Wight, a small island approximately 2 miles off the southern coast of England. Now historically, the Isle of Wight has been a prime vacation spot for the English and has a rich history that includes, amongst other notable things, as being raided by Vikings, conquered by the Normans, being the summer home to Queen Victoria, and even the site of the world's first radio station set up by Marconi himself. Today, it is also home to Isle of Wight Distillery, producers of Mermaid Gin. Now the distillery is the first and only one on the island and was founded by friends Xavier Baker and Conrad Gauntlet. Now their initial plans called for making whiskey, and after laying down some whiskey casks, they then decided to have a go at making gin, which, as most of us would know, would bring in then some quick revenue for them while they waited for their whiskey to age. But it wasn't only about making some quick cash with gin for these guys. They wanted to do things in a sustainable and natural way, as much as possible, and wanted to include as much local ingredients as possible as well. Isle of Wight Distillery remains focused on sustainable practices such as using zero plastic in their production, only recycled glass, recycled paper, and ethically sourced ingredients, with their ultimate goal of one day soon being a net zero facility. Now that's quite admirable in my book. They also didn't want to just make a boring old gin. They wanted to do something delicious that would also represent the island. Using a column still and grain spirit, they set about their craft and eventually landed on 10 botanicals that would form Mermaid Gin, with 3 of these ingredients being locally sourced, one of which is our spin for this gin. Typical gin ingredients such as citrus zest, elderflower, orris root, juniper of course, grains of paradise, coriander, and angelica root are all used. We see that quite often in gin production. What else is being used here? Well, rock samphire is also being used. What is that, you may ask? Well, rock samphire, or rock samphire, is an aromatic succulent that grows along the cliffs of the island, like clusters of mini sea cactus if you want to picture something in your head. It's also known as mermaid's kiss, and that's what's inspired the name of the gin. It gives off a citrus and salty air note with a touch of spice, and then typically its leaves and stems are used for pickling, and or they're used naturally in salads. But here, in the case of Mermaid Gin, it plays a defining role in the character of the gin. So now it's time to dive in and see what we're going to find in our glass. First, we're going to acclimate our nose by raising the glass 3 times, and then on the 4th raise, we take a big inhale. Here's how I do it. Hello, how are you? Ah, it's nice to meet you. I hope you smell delicious. Now the nose is ready, our olfactory bulb is ready. Big sniff. Okay, so, wow. It's a little heady off the bat. Now, not in a bad way. Orange citrus peel, kelp, clover, soft juniper, seawater, floral lavender, they all come at you right away. There's a little ginger in there, some musky earth. I get some sweet hay and some hoppy citric notes all bouncing around. I gotta tell you, there's lots going on in the nose, and it's not an overly pine-forward gin. Okay, now we're gonna taste. Now remember, when tasting wine, spirits, and sake, we want to swish the liquid around our mouth and coat all of those 5 flavor receptors that we have. Okay? Here we go. Sláinte. Okay, it's a little zingy on the tongue right away. There's a almost peppery kind of spice. Starts on the tip of your tongue and then it bounces around the palate. I'm picking up citrus, ginger, grass, floral, some wet earth. They're all there. The juniper is there as well, but again, it's restrained, right? So not pine tree forward. And while the gin is dry, I mean, it's a dry gin, there's a feeling of weight and a feeling of almost a sweetness in the palate. So what do I think? All in all, it's quite nice, and it's easy to see why the distillers do not recommend masking the gin too much when making cocktails such as gin and tonic or other ingredients that are being used in a cocktail featuring Mermaid Gin. They really want the gin to shine. And there's a lot going on, so that makes sense, just in the gin alone. Okay, so now where can we find Mermaid Gin? Well, it's really quite easily located all around the UK. Places like Tesco's and Marks and Spencer's and all those big grocers, they all carry it. And for those of you that haven't been over across the pond, it doesn't mean that it's discount gin by any stretch. Grocery stores are actually a great place to buy your alcohol over in the UK and throughout Europe. Across the pond, it retails for about £39 for a 700 ml bottle, right? Obviously, this is a smaller bottle that I received, but for a 700 ml bottle, £39 sterling. Here in Ontario, where I am, in Canada, we can find it at the LCBO, stock number 133443. Retailing at a price of $80.05 for a 700 milliliter bottle. And folks, that's a bit of the rub here with this gin. It's an $80 gin, 700 ml bottle. Now, I certainly agree that it's a premium gin, no doubt about that. But for me, the price point is a bit steep. It's definitely a gin that's worth a try in a bar, or if you're out somewhere at an establishment that's offering it, especially if you can get it neat before you put it in a cocktail. But for me, it's definitely a gin that you want to try before you buy it to make sure you really, really love it before committing to a bottle at that price point. In my opinion, for me, there are other premium gins out there, Canadian premium gins as well, that cost less money and for me are as equally balanced, if not a touch more balanced. So not a knock on it, but you really got to like it if you're going to spend the cash on it. For my other viewers, I am seeing it online by some web agents in the US for about $50 USD a bottle. Again, that's pricey for a gin even in the US. And for mes amis in Quebec, I cannot seem to find it listed at the SIQ, and I don't seemingly see it listed in Western Canada, at least not yet. Okay, so there you have it. The first Gin with a Spin tasting of Gi-Une 2022. Thanks for tuning in. Tomorrow, day 3 of Gi-Une, I'll be sharing a cocktail recipe using Mermaid Gin. Be sure to check out my Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram pages and ensure that we are indeed connected by following each of those platforms. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you will be sure not to miss a moment of Gi-Une or anything else that I'm posting. It's all very easy. Go into the search bar, SOMM4ALL. Just do that on any of those social media platforms. You'll find me and you'll be all set. I do truly appreciate you spending time with me today. Until tomorrow, folks, stay safe, be well, and cheers from Psalm for All.